Here I am today at the Wanchin Catholic Church in Pingtung County in southern Taiwan on Saturday the 21st of March 2026 at about 11:40 a.m. This is the first Catholic church in Taiwan, founded by Spanish Dominican priests with the late 1860s. Adobe. It's now recognised as a very significant historical landmark in Taiwan. It made renovations done in the 1990s. I'll just go inside, just a quick look inside. Just the church, looking down through the nave, centre. From there earlier I said the rosary. Now on speakers they have the music playing. One could say simple, but I think still beautiful church, Basilica. In 1984 Pope John Paul II visited this church, and it was he that declared this church to be a basilica. Basically it means a church like of major historical significance. Saying the rosary was nice, having the melodious sound music you can hear in the background. Going through showing the Stations of the Cross. I'll go outside soon, and they've got actually monuments there to each of the Stations of the Cross. They call the style of this church like an adobe style church, one that might remind one of churches in Mexico, say, for example, Latin America. Indeed. Now I'll go outside. Have the statue there to Saint Dominic. There, it's life. Monument there, all in Chinese. St. Dominic's life from 1170 to 1221 AD. And now I'll there. The monastery building. It's like simple style of the church. There in the background there you can see mountains in the background. That's looking a bit clearer now with some terrible very heavy haze earlier, or cloud mist. That's clearing now, they're clearly visible. But now I'll take you through now the monuments they have to the Stations of the Cross. And so I'm going to make some commentary on. Starting here at the first station, I've got here Jesus stands in front of the Roman governor there, Judea, Pontius Pilate. The man, as you can see, there he is washing his hands of the affair, one can say. The monument is of the first station now in Chinese, but if we look here at this character here, E, that means one. So that's signifying there the first station. Now we move on to the second. What we have here, Jesus made to bear his cross. To bear his cross. And we can see here Chinese only, but again that character two. Singly the second, that indicates the second station. Move back again. Here we go. Now here we have the third station. Jesus falls while carrying the cross for the first time. Son. That's the character 3. So there we have the third station. Just a point of view, you'll see these characters here, they will be identical on all monuments. And in the middle there, the number of the station be the middle character. Now we're on to the fourth station. Jesus meets his mournful mother. One can only imagine the pain and affliction she must have been feeling at the time. Again, that's the fourth station, Sun Tse. Again, notice these characters here, the same, but Tse, number 4. Chinese character for 4. This is the fourth station. We now move on to the fifth station. Simon, Jesus too exhausted now to carry the cross, so Simon the Cyrenian is conscripted, one could say, to carry the cross. This is the fifth station there. Wu, Sun Tse, Wu, 5. Notice by now too, Jesus is wearing the crown of thorns. One even at this stage can hardly imagine the agony Jesus was feeling at this time. hath sacrificed his Son to bear the sins of the world, of humanity. Later on, notice the Roman soldier there. I will get back to that later. Now we're at the 6th station. We have the miracle of the Shroud of Turin. Veronica wipes the face of Jesus. We saw the miracle of the Shroud of Turin, that on that cloth that bore the likeness of Jesus. A while back, some months ago, I actually did see a scientific documentary that does confirm the authenticity of this shroud. Run by a nuclear engineer. His name escapes me right now. Again, so the Roman legionnaire there. Now, again, the 6th station. San Wu Leo, 6th, number 6. Here we are now at the at the 7th station. Jesus falls second time. Some Roman soldiers again, I think, taking kind of some sadistic pleasure in that fact. Again, scenes 7. Chi means it's 7. San Tse Wu Leo Chi. This now is the 8th station. Jesus tells the women, don't mourn for me, mourn for yourselves and for your children. This is the 8th station. Ba. Chi, 7, 8, Chi, Ba. The 8th station. Now moving on to Jo, the 9th station. Jo. This is the 9th station. Jesus now falling again, 3rd time. Ninth, Jo, 9th. Now we're at the 10th. Sure. That it's 10th. Jesus being stripped of his garments in preparation for crucifixion. crucifixion upon which he would live through 3 agonising hours. I emphasise 3 agonising hours. This is the 10th, 10th. Now moving on. To the 11th I've got here. Jesus is crucified. Again, I emphasise for 3 hours before he passes away. He endures 3 hours of agony of the crucifixion. Eleventh. 11th. Should be noted, the ones crucifying Jesus, the actual physical act, the crucifixion, are not Jews, they're Romans. So for all those Jew haters out there, say the Jews are solely responsible for deicide, the death of Jesus. Have a look at the guilt of the Gentile Romans. We were all guilty. Take your Jew hatred to take all your Jew hatred to hell with you. Here we are. Jesus is now crucified. Placed by Mary his mother. Twelfth station. Here we have the 13th station. Jesus is taken down from the cross after 3 hours of an agony and the crucifixion. Son, 13th. Now the 14th. Jesus is about to be placed in the sepulchre. Number 14, here we have, this is number 14. It's 14th. Finally here, have the 15th. Glorious resurrection of Jesus Christ. Post-resurrection of Jesus on the third day. Now, here's the point I want to make. Now, and I want to make a poignant comparison here between Christianity and demonic Islam. I can say that because I've read Adolf Hitler's Mein Kampf, and I'm 70% of the way through the Quran, and I'm finding the Quran a logical follow-up to Adolf Hitler's Mein Kampf. It's an endless diatribe of Jew hatred. Although with the Quran you can add into Christian hatred as well. But I'll ask this to Muslims. Would your God, Allah, in reality Satan, would he lay down his life for you? Of course not. He's a most impersonal, narcissistic God. Jesus offered up his only son for the sins of humanity. Allah would never do that. Of course, as you said, Allah didn't have a son, so Allah would never do that. But Jesus, the son of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not Ishmael, certainly not Ishmael. He gave up his only son. And Anthony Albanese, my so-called Marxist Australian Prime Minister, read Trevor Loudon's book, Comrade Prime Minister. Look it up on Amazon. Anthony Albanese's 40-year alliance with Australian communism. Look at that mosque in Lakemba just a day or two ago. How desperate he was to appease the Muslims. And Tony Burke, who was the member for Wanchin and our Home Affairs Minister and Minister for Immigration. Albanese's reported it as a wondrous success. He said, oh yes, there were a handful of hecklers. That's not what the videos on X are showing. They despise him because, why? Because he's not appeasing them enough. Apparently the recognition of Fakistan, the most fake nation in all of human history, is not enough. They want more. Just like Adolf Hitler, continuous appeasement through the 1930s, it was not enough. And like dictators, despots, like spoiled, petulant children, they will always demand more. It's time. Anthony Albanese, you claim yourself to be a Catholic, will cease with the doormat Christianity and look at Luke chapter 19 verses 45 to 46 when Jesus took a whip to the money changers desecrating his father's temple. Christianity, stop this doormat Christianity and stand up to Islam. There's no coexistence with Islam. I'm reading its Quran. I've read its hadiths. I've read its Sharia law manual. It's not about coexistence. When at first it's a religion of peace, when they're weak and small in number, but as they grow, they become more demanding. There's ingrates at the Lakemba Mosque. Get out, we don't want you. If you hate this country, my father escaped a continent of Europe, devastated on the whim of a lunatic, of a fascist lunatic like yourselves. Jew-hating fascist lunatic like yourselves, for a brand new life, wonderful life in Australia. He came to love this country and appreciated what this country delivered for him. And this country was founded on Christian values. So was all of Western civilization. And I've seen the Muslim Brotherhood documents that say you're about civilizational jihad, destroying Western civilization. It's about time to stand up. And Tony Burke, yeah, I know you've got a huge Muslim demographic in your seat of federal seat of Wanchin around Bankstown, Lakemba to appease. But no, you can never appease them. The future of this country is worth 100,000 times more than your political future. Straight. So I say this for my country, Australia, but for all of Western civilization. Stop the doormat Christianity and start being more like Luke chapter 19 verses 45 to 46. That's what we need. In the spirit of the Crusades, the spirit of the Polish King Jan Sobieski in 1683 repelled the Muslim Turkish horde from the gates of Vienna, and Vienna put up a monument to King Jan Sobieski. And tell the Muslims who are crying, oh, that's Islamophobia, where to go. There's no such thing as Islamophobia. A phobia means an irrational fear. Read the Islamic text, read the Quran, read the Sharia law manual, read the hadiths, including one hadith that calls for the end times extermination of all the Jews. This is not an irrational fear, but I'll tell you what is real. Islamophilia. Toxic, self-flagellating Islamophilia. And honestly, are we to believe the Quran, chapter 4, verse 157, that Jesus did not die on the cross, but rather it was an impersonator? It was someone who's not Jesus. You mean to tell me Mary and the apostles could not tell who Jesus was? But we're supposed to take some moral mass murdering reprobate in a cave in Arabia in 610 AD. Are we really, who originally thought he was talking to a demon? Well, actually, I think he's right. First time. Come on. If you hate this country, get out of it. I'm sick of your garbage. And I'm sick of your fake, your fake contrived. As fake as Fakestein, Gaza, famines and genocide. It's not taking place. Read my blog. vincebowinski.com/blog. Even UNICEF says that there was no famine in Gaza. The Islamophilic UN agency of the Islamophilic UN said it didn't happen. So in the end, I'll conclude with this. I compare Jesus to your Muhammad. Oh, come on. How can you honestly compare a moral reprobate, mass murderer, like Muhammad and warlord, with Jesus Christ? Look hard. Look really, really hard. I will conclude the video here. May God save Australia and all of Western civilization. Thank you.